Throughout history, religion and drama have gone hand in hand. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 religious controversies. For this list, we're focusing on specific historical events and religious concepts that have left people confused, disturbed, and even fearful. Number 10. Scientology. Formed by author L. Ron Hubbard in 1954, this new religious movement has long been cloaked in mystery. While celebrities like Tom Cruise have discussed practices and techniques of Scientology throughout the digital age, original controversies surrounding the body of beliefs and practices centered on the overt criminal behavior of members. In the 1970s, the Church of Scientology began Operation Snow White, an espionage project set on purging records and information that gave negative impressions of the group. Additional skepticism toward Scientology has emerged through its seemingly perpetual harassment of those who oppose the church, and what appears to be forced behavior upon members, as well as its on and off status as a tax-exempt religious organization.
You sleep about an hour, 2 hours a night. You were in such a mental state that you're very controllable, very suggestible.
In 2015, Alex Gibney's HBO documentary Going Clear offered a closer look at Scientology and the consequences for those who choose to separate themselves from the religion.
And I remember one time Mike had done something or not done something, I don't remember, and I was supposed to go beat him up.
Number 9. The Mountain Meadows Massacre. By September 1857, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was experiencing a serious reformation. With hysteria over the Utah War creating paranoia among the Mormon community and the death of notable leaders, the stage was set for a confrontation with perceived enemies. When a party of immigrants from Arkansas arrived in southern Utah, Mountain Meadows would become their final resting place. Convinced that a group of the settlers was responsible for the Hans Mill massacre, in which at least 17 Mormons were killed, and that they planned to eliminate the Mormon people at large, the Utah Territorial Militia launched an attack. 5 days in, under the guise of a truce and intending to leave no witnesses, John D. Lee approached the remaining immigrants and led them, men, women, and children over 7, into an ambush. In all, as many as 140 people were killed, with only a few young children surviving. Number 8. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. By rejecting the more previously accepted norms of creationism, the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster has their own unique perspective. Taking over the internet in 2005, the movement highlights the idea that an origin story involving a flying spaghetti monster cannot be debunked, much like the concept of God central to Christianity.
Well, what if I told you there was a flying spaghetti monster? Would you believe it simply because it can't be disproven?
Unsurprisingly, this fundamental ideology has often rubbed people the wrong way. The satirical religion originally came about to protest the teaching of intelligent design over evolution in American public schools, while in theory revolutionizing how schools and people of free will approach the concept of organized religion. Creator Bobby Henderson was only 24 years old when his church was founded, and the satirical ideals are meant to distinguish between faith and actual science.
Hey, Professor, I'm a flying spaghetti monster. You seriously believe I'm descended from some kind of flightless manicotti?
Yes!
Oh, please.
Number 7. Islam, the religion of peace.
The great divide is not between Islam and the rest. It's rather between the fundamentalists and the moderates in each faith.
The history of Islam is vast and expansive, but 21st century terrorism has shone a light on fanatics that stray from peaceful ideals. More than 20 years before the Twin Towers were destroyed, the term Islamic fundamentalism spread across the globe, most notably by way of the 1979 Iranian Revolution and the subsequent hostage crisis. And despite the amount of peaceful Muslims across the world, it's the jihadists, hijackers, and other extremists that have seemingly established a new normal, thus leading many, rightly or wrongly, to question the religion. The conversation continues in society, as the core ideas of Islam are interpreted in different ways, leading some to peace and others to violence.
Or how about the more than a billion people who aren't fanatical, who don't punch women, who just want to go to the store?
Number 6. The End of the World, according to Jehovah's Witnesses. Established in 1870s America, Jehovah's Witnesses have become known for their unannounced visits throughout the neighborhood and handing out pamphlets.
You a Jehovah's Witness?
No,
There are approximately 8 million members throughout the world. But what troubles outsiders is that the religion's governing body opposes independent thinking and discourages from individual Bible study. More worrisome, however, is the religion's anticipation of Armageddon, a state of readiness that creates endless controversy.
It's every day. You go to bed at like 5, and if the sun sets really red, you're like, is this the day?
False predictions in 1914, 1925, and 1975 have led to revisions of doctrines, and even new interpretations of the Bible. Number 5. Medzitza B'Peh. In the Jewish faith, the circumcision ritual is known as Brit Milah, while the removal of the foreskin is called Medzitza. But there's another step that is sometimes still performed as well, a more controversial method that involves the oral suction of a wound by a moil, or circumciser. Of course, one of the main problems with such an ancient practice is the physical transfer of modern disease. In 2005, 3 New York babies acquired herpes reportedly through the ritual of Medzitza B'Peh.
One specific procedure that's performed as part of some circumcisions, what we're calling direct oral suction, can be transmitting infections to infants.
Incidentally, new laws and regulations have emerged in which parents must provide consent, and some have suggested that glass tubes could replace the oral contact.
You can continue this custom by using a sterile tube, a gauze pad, and the rest of the bris is fine.
Number 4. Mormonism and the Book of Abraham. In 1835, the ancient Egyptian writings of Abraham were supposedly discovered by none other than Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism.
There goes that kooky Joseph Smith. You know, he claims he spoke with God and Jesus.
Well, how do you know he didn't?
Dum 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 dum.
Smith may have genuinely believed the papyri to be authentic, but a later examination by Egyptologist Theodule de Veria opposed the findings. It was originally believed that the historical documents were once lost in the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, but pieces emerged at New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art in 1966. Adding additional doubts to Smith's claims are numerous subsequent examinations that proved the so-called Book of Abraham was actually Egyptian funerary documents. Number 3. The Catholic Church sexual abuse scandal in Boston.
At the outset, I apologize once again to all those who have been sexually abused as minors by priests.
As depicted in the 2015 Academy Award-winning film Spotlight, in 2002, the Boston Globe revealed a sexual abuse cover-up within the Catholic Church.
Mitch, are you telling me that the Catholic Church removed legal documents from that courthouse?
Sadly, the scandal directly connected Roman Catholic priests to the systematic abuse of young children. But the investigation by the Spotlight team allowed for other victims to come forward, both within the community of Boston and beyond.
Now, that Globe investigation into court documents revealed that the church knew a great deal about Gagin and his offenses.
And with payouts reaching $100 million, the financial woes paled in comparison to the damaged reputation of the accused, and certainly for the Catholic Church in general. But above all, the scandal revealed the existence of a troubling conspiracy that was organized by the people preaching the Word of God. Number 2. Martin Luther's On the Jews and Their Lies. In 1543, a notable man of God published a 65,000-word document in the name of anti-Semitism. His name was Martin Luther, a figurehead of the Protestant Reformation. At first, Luther tried to convert Jews to Christianity, as his steadfast view was that Jesus, who was born a Jew, was in fact the Son of God. But the German failed to sway faithful Jews, which led him to write something called On the Jews and Their Lies. Within 3 years, Luther was dead. But approximately 400 years later, the Third Reich openly embraced his ideologies, which influenced the systematic execution of millions of Jews. Number 1. The Inquisition. In the 12th century, it was not okay to oppose the Catholic Church. This became evident with the emergence of the medieval Inquisition. Originally led by the Dominican order, torture and executions became commonplace to diminish opposition, which were a most violent turn from the usual jail sentence of years past. These events preceded large-scale grand inquisitions, along with the witch trials of the Renaissance era and beyond. In retrospect, it doesn't seem far-fetched to think that the original Inquisition set the precedent for the Catholic Church to use violent force to manipulate free-thinking minds, leading to the trials of Galileo and Joan of Arc, as well as centuries upon centuries of death in the name of a higher being. Do you agree with our list? What do you think is the biggest religious controversy? For more thought-provoking top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Brian's gonna give you your personality test and then let you know some things about Scientology.
Good times, good times.